So let's go back to mapping residential areas and barriers. So next time you map with me, we map places over this project that I have. Where is it? 14. Yeah, this one, the one I loaded in JOSM. I will now delete that. This one is empty. And we'll go back pressing 2 to this location. Okay. And now we will learn how to map a residential area. Okay. You can see here, this one has been made, I guess, again, a couple of years ago, and it seems to be outdated. If Maxa from map, it looks like more or less what we see from Mapbox satellite imagery, but this village has been growing in the meantime, and you have more huts around, so you would need to expand that. Okay. For an easy start, I will not use this one because you can see it's already existing. I will create one in a context that is actually a bit easier to handle for a beginner. And hopefully from last week, Yemen, the UN mission in Yemen joined the UN Maps project, and we have some working project over Yemen now, and it's really interesting because it's empty and it's a bit easier to manage compared to these very scattered settlements that we have here in this region in DRC. Okay, so I'm going back to the tasking manager. So I use this task with my personal account, but I have one here. You can see in the tasking manager here we have not only project of a DRC, but now with Yemen. Okay, and I think the one I open is yes, this one, Macbana 14830, like this one. So this one is for location, roads, and waterways. It's a bit cumbersome that the way the UN, the tasking manager present the project, they are, I mean, the title are not complete like that. It's not easy to read. Okay, so there's already someone on this. So it's in Yemen, okay, in that region on the southwest. And so there is someone else working there. So I will avoid, I mean, working around, especially there, because we would have a large common boundary. I mean, in the angle, it's not much a problem. Okay, so why not this one, for example? I have picked, yes, this one, so I need to leave it. And we need the one from JRC, so I can pick the one in Yemen. And you can only have one task at the same time over the tasking within the tasking manager. So here it is. It seems to be really mountainous. I can have a look on OpenTopoMap, and it is. and we are at, it's not very high actually, it's less than 1,000 meters, but we have a lot of, so the existing information is just about locations, and they are on mostly on top or close to be of those hills we have there, except this one that is close to the, I guess, the riverbed. So back to Maxa imagery. Okay, so we can see here we have a name for every single settlement. That is interesting. Let's have a look on how it is. So we have a long list of bit of space here. No, this one is good too. Long list of attributes, and with the GNS on top of it. Okay. It's in Arabic, it's in English, and so information, a lot of information. So this is obviously something working from home from a foreign country cannot add by his or her knowledge. Let's have a look on the history of this object. So it has been made by this user that has a username written in Arabic. And we can see it's there is a source, and it states that it's an importation of data of GNS PPL names. What is GNS? For those who do not know about it. So GNS data, let's search that. Okay, GNS downloadable files. GNS stands for GeoNames. It's a data set that is provided by the US government. It's totally free data. It's public domain, so you can do whatever you want. And as it's public domain, it's compatible with the open database license from OpenStreetMap. So it's a way to, if you have no information about the settlements in a specific country, you can use it and add it in OSM. Thing is, obviously, it's a global data set, has been updated several times, but it's not as good as if it would have been done in the field by local people. Okay, so it's better than nothing, but do not consider it as perfect. And no data set is perfect. So we can see here the places are all there. That's something we should actually also we can have a look on and test using what it is, locality, using Maxine. And I would say regarding the places, here's just locality, so it should be something that is not populated, and from the imagery it seems to be really populated. So regarding that, from this situation, I would actually change the tag for something that would be a hamlet, I would say. Maybe it existed and have been abandoned, but currently it's pretty obvious that it's populated. Okay, and yeah, there is missing information. Okay, there's an obvious population here, there, etc. So it's not complete. Okay, it has been added, seems to be complete here, but here it's totally missing. There is nothing here, I would say, but close to the river, there are a lot of hamlets or not really isolated dwellings. Yeah, another one. Okay. But as of now, I'm not here to show you again how to map places, but we focus on the residential areas. And what is good is when all the places have been added, using, for example, the marks in pure to be sure you did not miss any. It's easy to to map the residential areas because you have this node that inform you that there is a settlement there. So so far we knew how to map a node, and remember it was just using the standard drawing nodes tool and double click to create a node. Now we will create ways, and actually for residential area it will be a closed way. We will start as a way, but we will close it, putting the last node on top on the first one. The residential areas, you have obviously a chapter about it in the OSM in the Learning Hub. Is it here? Residential areas. And it's an extended version of what you can find directly in the description of the tasking manager. Okay. So they need to be closed. They should not join anything else, highway, waterways, all the place. So they are independent. They are part of the land use, the land cover in general, but they do not connect to it other kind of object. And regarding the extension, it should be fairly close to the buildings. Okay, we will include all the buildings that are close to one to another. Okay, and as in the context in JRC, there is some, when they are scattered, this can be a bit difficult to know what is the right limit. But this residential area is not about the building. It will include also the gardens, yard, trees, streets, or squares around. Okay, they are part of the residential area. But in rural areas, when there are some agricultural fields, this is something else. That would be another land cover type that is separate from the residential land use. Okay. Because keep in mind that the residential land use that is very common in OpenStreetMap, it can be completed by other land covers areas. And so if you put a very large and not very precise potato shape, let's say, the people that would like to make the land cover, they will have to basically retrace everything you did. So what you did is not really helpful for people to follow and complete the land cover. One tip also regarding where to start, no, where to stop. So if two groups of buildings connected by a road that cross agricultural fields and more than 50 meters, you will make them separate, and to avoid to have very thin connection like stripes between land use areas that are not very helpful. Okay, so we will see that in our mapping. In the common errors section, generally there is one for almost every topographic features in this guide. Here was an existing example. It was, I think it's Sri Lanka, something like this. The original form. Okay, here we have shared nodes with the highways. That's a mistake. 2, we have boundaries overlapping the areas of crops or forest. Here the crop fields. It's is crossing this piece of wood, okay? And actually, here you can see there is piece of wood that actually separates two residential land use. And the right way to do it was this one, okay? So we have here only the buildings and the gardens. And this, there's no squares, there are no feature that you can find actually in a in a urban area. Okay, so only the buildings and the gardens around. But when it's forest or crop fields, it's different. One thing we will also have to take into account is when we use the tasking manager, you can have a land use that is or village that is cut by your task. So the way to do that, you will not map it entirely, but you will stop, as you can see here. And the task was this part on top, but you will slightly overlap the next task with at least you can see one node here and one node there, so that the next contributor using these tags will be able to see when he will download his task as there's these two nodes, your area will be downloaded and you will be able to continue your mapping. Okay. So that's all the tips, the rules for mapping residential areas. I will show you now on live how to do it in this context. So here we have on these hills, these buildings. We have crop fields, these terraces along the slopes. So I will be close to them. Here there's some, I will do something like that. So you can see, depending on my ability with the mouse and also the context, the mapping scale will be in meters here, 20 or 40. If you 50, you won't be very precise here. It's impossible to be accurate. Okay, I would say 40 is good here. Okay. This, I don't know what it is. Okay, can do some.
We don't hear you, and the screen is frozen.
We, we cannot hear anyone.
Hello, can you hear
Okay,
me?
it's working. It's working.
Okay. Sorry, I think that's the worst connection I had on my side. Huh? Joanna, I don't think we face such issues. So I don't know where you were when I was mapping there. So you can see I started mapping over both the buildings, and what is around is considered like streets or tiny path or a bit of garden. And these green things are not really considered. The crop fields are those one. Here around this are more gardens. So you can see I'm close to the buildings. Okay. And so when I am mapping every node, if I want to go back, for example, this one is not very precise. I would like it to be there. I can cancel the last nodes either by this with this arrow, the back arrow, but obviously you can use Control Z, 1, 2, 3. I could also, I can do it and Control Y is the contrary of Control Z. I can also move this node if I want. I can move it, but with a selection tool, this one. I prefer on my side using the keyboard shortcut. So we press S, the S key. So if you want to move a node, you just need to click it and to move it like this, okay? And in between two existing nodes, you can see a plus. That means you can create any extra nodes you would like, okay? If I would like to create a node here, I can just hold the left button of my mouse and we create a new node. And of course, there will be 2 new pluses now between this new node and the 2 first nodes. And then to continue my mapping, press A again. I can escape because I don't want to start from here. Escape to unselect everything. If I click on an existing way, it will be continued. You can see it's oriented. There are some arrows in the direction I'm mapping. In the case of a polygon, it's not an issue. Or I could actually have included this one. Okay, I think. Okay, so I can do something like this. Would do, yeah, maybe this. Can move again. So I'm not crossing over a building because the land use should not overlap any building footprint. Could also have done something like this, I think. Okay. I'm going slightly slower than I would do it by myself alone, just for you not to be overwhelmed with a lot of click and having a look on where I click. Okay, and here I think it would be something like that. Okay, you can see here so far. You can see from the selection, it's an open way with 91 nodes. If I continue it, the last node will be for closing it. So I will just click. I do not need to double click, just one click is enough. And now it's a closed way. That's how it works in OpenStreetMap. It's not a polygon per se, it's a closed way. and it makes the total of it is 91 nodes. And you can see it was 91 here, because the last node is actually the first one. So there's no, it's not 92 nodes, it's 91. So it's a empty geometry. I need to put a tag on it. I don't have an easy access with this toolbar, so I can go to the preset. So I can search it, or I can go to the tree. In the tree, it will be in the geography, land use, residential, or is it? Yeah, residential area. If I want to have it there, I can just click on the pin button. I don't know its name. There is a subtype, residential, okay, rural. It's not mandatory to put it if you want. Apply. It's not even mentioned in the either the instruction or the guide actually. Okay, so now have it. And whoever would like to map the fields, etc. around, it's already done for them to map. Okay. Generally, you have one place for one residential land use. When it's like this, it's a hamlet. Okay. Maybe it's a bit weird because they're really connected and they're really close. I don't know if the extension of Algarve versus Al-Mahalis would be there. I don't know, but generally, if I would have put a place name myself, I would have put a village, only a place node as a village in the middle of it. But this data is there. I will not modify it, except this one. I told you there was a locality. It's obviously not the case. Okay, so and we have the same thing here. It's even closer. I would say hamlets, and I would do something around here, there. Okay, very, very close. And that's it. Huh? So for the extension of this one, for example, there would be sometimes people that would do that. And would let that apart. Other would do something different. There's also people that would not even include this one on the main shape. Okay. Very. If you make we already did a test with different experience mappers, and the results are a bit different, depending on the context. Here, the context is not very complicated regarding that. The one in DRC is really more tough. Okay, so that's it for the residential area. It's a pretty easy area feature to map. Just keep in mind, it has to be not to be connected to anything. I will upload that. Actually, there is another project for mapping roads. So I will switch to this other project to show you how to map roads. So here, if I upload, the validation tool did not detect anything wrong. Okay, and I have this automatic comment. has been added. So I can upload my changes. Successful. I will go back to the tasking manager. That was this one, I think. Yes. And I will, in this task, completely map no, and I will actually leave, select another task.